On June 5, 2013, The Guardian released an article that exposed the NSA and how they had been allegedly collecting Verizon phone records without warrants. You may ask who released this top-secret information. Well, it was none other than this guy.
My name's Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA.
Snowden worked for the NSA for 4 years before his guilt led him to collect and release information that exposed the NSA for secretly surveying the public. He felt that it was his duty to the American people to let them know what their government was doing, no matter the consequences he had to face. He agreed that the surveillance the NSA had been doing and the metadata they had been collecting since 9/11 is unconstitutional and needs to be stopped. Before we explain what metadata is and how the NSA has been collecting it, we need to explain their history and how we got to this point of secrecy in our government. The NSA was created on November 4, 1952 by President Truman in a classified memorandum that was 17 pages long, so from the beginning it was shrouded in secrecy. The NSA involved itself in many important happenings from 1952 until 2001. They were involved in the Vietnam War, Watergate, and various terror attacks before it became the NSA we know today. Then everything changed. After 9/11, the Patriot Act was created by the Bush administration, which gave the NSA free rein over any information from the American public they wanted without a warrant. They were allowed to access phone records and mine metadata from every phone, computer, tablet in America. Metadata is information on information, basically. If you call your mom, the NSA will know that, but not the contents of the call. The NSA uses this as a kind of excuse for collecting our data because it isn't the contents of our communications, it isn't exactly invading our privacy, but the thing is, it is. Another thing they seem to ignore is the fact that what they are doing is completely unconstitutional. The Fourth Amendment clearly states that a warrant must be issued to go through a person's possessions, and the NSA completely bypassed that. Just because they are a government agency shouldn't give them the right to be above the law.
Absolutely believe that what the NSA has been doing for the last dozen or so years has been in gross violation of the Fourth Amendment concerning rights of privacy and against unwarranted searches. And I don't think there's any justification for it.
Well, it definitely is going to trample on privacy rights. There's no doubt about that. What has to be answered politically, I guess, for lack of a better term, is just how much latitude should they be given to do their function. You have to decide what you believe their legitimate function is. It's to protect us. At least I'm assuming that's what they would say. And then just how do you balance that with what your own personal rights are? And
but maybe we should hear their side of the argument.
Welcome to the National Security Agency, Central Security Service. I'm Admiral Mike Rogers, Commander of U.S. Cyber Command, Director of the National Security Agency, and Chief of its military components, the Central Security Service. On behalf of the men and women of NSA CSS, thank you for your interest in our agency. This is truly an amazing place to work. Our missions are dynamic, and so are our adversaries. The NSA workforce brings together a diverse range of skills and backgrounds to achieve a common goal: to defend our nation and our allies against a wide range of national security issues. From terrorist threats against the homeland to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction.
Well, it definitely is going to trample on privacy rights. There's no doubt about that. What has to be answered politically, I guess, for lack of a better term, is just how much latitude should they be given to do their function. You have to decide what you believe their legitimate function is. It's to protect us. At least I'm assuming that's what they would say. And then just how do you balance that with what your own personal rights are? And that's a real hard question to answer.
I'm of a mind that the government should not be surveilling every American citizen, that until there is a warrant or significant evidence that somebody is potentially betraying our nation in some way, until that point they should not be gathering information on anyone. And that means that, you know, the remaining 300 million of us should be left alone until there's some reason for them to be keeping an eye on what we're doing. What they're currently doing is, of course, collecting data on everyone and then sifting through it when somebody, you know, red flags. And I think that that's just wrong. And I think a lot of people agree, but nobody seems to be doing a whole heck of a lot to change that situation. Absolutely believe that what the NSA has been doing for the last dozen or so years has been in gross violation of the Fourth Amendment concerning rights of privacy and against unwarranted searches. And I don't think there's any justification for it.
Hero or villain? Tonight we have an exclusive interview with one Edward Snowden, who is both revered and reviled for spilling America's top secrets.